We go back decades. I love him to death. And we all had conversations religiously about it. But when Kenny Smith called me and said to me, he's from the neighborhood, he's one of us. And, you know, when you talking, I understand where you coming from. I understand how passionate and fervent you feel about this. You know, Stephen A, you got to think about that. And the reason why it's so appropriate that Jay Williams is on this segment is because Jay Williams and I have butted heads in the past. You know when we stopped butting heads, Jay? When Kenny Smith gave me that call. Because I was forced to then think about what you were telling me. And I said, damn, they got a point.
Okay, so it's looking like another person sees behind Stephen A's bullshit, man. Today's video, we got to talk about Kenny Smith revealing how he had to check Stephen A. Remember how Stephen A. Smith used to slander Kyrie Irving like this.
I'm going to be calm when I say this, Key. We are witnessing one of the most delusional athletes in American history. He's lost.
Do you think that Kyrie is worth all of this drama?
No, he's not. He's not worth it at all. A matter of fact, let me say this straight up and down. I think Kyrie Irving should retire. I think he should announce his retirement today. There's a lot that happened this year. And, you know, especially in Brooklyn with Mr. Kyrie Irving.
Oh, yeah.
That brother put out a tweet today. We ain't talking about it today because we at the NFL draft. Let me look into the audience and say this. Oh, you thought I had stuff to say before. Wait until first take tomorrow. I'ma save it. I'ma marinate on what this brother had the audacity to put on social media today. I'ma let it marinate for the next 24 hours. Molly, I want to emphasize, Molly Kiram doesn't have anything to do with this. The ESPN executives don't have nothing to do with this.
Oh, the
Producers, the great Sam Tanucci, Antoine Lewis, James Dunn, and the whole crew, they have nothing to do with this. Put that camera, don't come right here. Tomorrow, on First Take,
I love him.
This brother right here gonna put up this stuff on social media to say the stuff that he said. I'ma let it marinate for the next 24 hours. If ever the cuffs came off on First Take, it's coming off tomorrow. I can't wait. I don't even want to sleep.
So a lot of us didn't know why Stephen A stopped doing that. A lot of us just figured it was just because Kyrie Irving is now with the Dallas Mavericks. He's playing alongside Luka. They're doing good. They're now calling Kyrie and Luka the best backcourt in the NBA right now. And, you know, so people figured that Stephen A. Smith is now only praising Kyrie because in Stephen A. Smith's eyes, how he has been praising Kyrie, it's like, yo, now I can praise you because all you're doing now, Kyrie, is just shutting up and dribbling a basketball. That's what it seems like, right? So Stephen A. just got exposed because Kenny Smith revealed he had to check Stephen A. Smith behind the scenes. And I think Kenny Smith did this because Kenny Smith is starting to see how Stephen A. Smith is trying to ride Kyrie Irving's coattail. I think that's the reason why Kenny the Jet Smith came out and told the world that he had checked Stephen A. Smith behind the scenes for Kyrie Irving slander. So I would like to highlight that in today's video. And after that, I'll have the clip of Stephen A. Smith responding to that. So let's check out this clip right here, and then I'll be right back with some more commentary. Here's the video. Be sure to hit that like button for me if you haven't already. That helps this YouTube channel continue to grow. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, stay up to date with all of my current YouTube videos. Peace.
Well, I'm just excited, as you started off, that we're talking about him. And there's been like a constant change in the thought process about him by the mass media. As a basketball player, you know, we're not talking about his political or social stances and looking at him in a negative view. And I'll say it. I wasn't going to say it, but, you know, I've never said it to Kyrie, but I've said it to Stephen A. Because at one time, Stephen A. was an advocate about having a battle with this guy. And I had to call Stephen. I'm like, this guy's from our neighborhood. I named like 6 people. And I said, Stephen, those people mentored you. They mentored him. So when you say something about him, you're actually saying it about us. And so he understood, and they kind of fell back. And because as a media person, we have to understand that young men go through young things.
Stuff is good. He self-inflicted himself. He got to take some responsibility. I think he's grown up. I think he's matured. Stephen A and other people criticized him, and he rightly deserved it. You can't go out there being anti-Semitic, and you can do the vaccine thing. That's your own thing. But he deserved the criticism he got. He deserved the suspension he got. But as a basketball player, I think he's really grown up.
Let me move on to this last subject before I go to break, because it involves Kenny Smith and Kyrie Irving. Kenny the Jet Smith for TNT, the great Kyrie Irving for the Dallas Mavericks, who may be on the verge of winning his second NBA championship, by the way, which is an incredible story within itself. But anyway, the topic that I'm about to get into is a bit personal. It involves Kenny, my brother, my boy. Kenny Smith and I go back decades. His brother, Vincent Smith, used to train me. Lost Battalion Hall, Queens, New York, all of that stuff. I got a scholarship, a basketball scholarship, because of Vincent Smith. Love him to death. But Kenny Smith and I go back that long. Last night, the TNT crew was discussing the evolution of Kyrie Irving this postseason. Because Kyrie Irving obviously has gone through so much, being accused of anti-Semitism or anti-Semitic remarks just because he retweeted something and stuff like that, getting suspended, having to deal with some of the things he's had to deal with, the whole COVID thing, and not wanting to play, not wanting to take the vaccine, and all of this other stuff, ultimately missing an abundance of games. And obviously things going south in Brooklyn with him, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. You look at those situations, and you just found yourself saying, damn, this is a bad situation. It's really bad. And Kyrie's name was all over it. And then he lost the sneaker deal, and all he had was basketball. But the evolution of Kyrie Irving this postseason has been nothing short of spectacular, and he deserves a lot of credit for it. But that was also what led to Kenny Smith revealing a very private conversation that he had with me about my past critical comments of Kyrie. And I shouldn't say past, because at the time we had the conversation, that's when it was going on, and that's when Kenny Smith called me. All of them talked to me, and they weren't disagreeing with what I was saying, but they were addressing the fervor with which I talked about Kyrie. And I really didn't see it that way. I felt like I had looked out for Kyrie Irving on many, many occasions until I couldn't. And then I felt that his attitude towards me had changed, and it felt like betrayal. I let that go. But then when his father, I felt, came at me the wrong way, I reacted like I react. I ain't backing up. And it wasn't until Kenny Smith placed that call to me that I had to look at myself differently, because he reminded me of those numerous people that raised Kyrie. They also influenced me. And when I talked about Kyrie in the fashion that I talked about him, it wasn't just a reflection on him, it was a reflection on them. And when I looked at it that way, it gave me cause to pause. And then I remembered having an argument on First Take on ESPN with Jay Williams. And Jay Williams wasn't even attacking what I said. He was attacking the energy and how I said it.
Are we talking about Kyrie, or is this personal?
It seems personal.
I don't want it to be personal.
What seems personal?
So.
It seems personal for you.
For me with Kyrie?
Yes.
You
1,000,000%.
You of all people with all the interest you have got the nerve to sit here on national television and tell me I'm getting personal with a player? I don't lose no sleep.
I didn't say you lose sleep.
I don't lose any sleep over Kyrie.
I didn't say you lose sleep.
And I thought about that, and I said, damn, he's got a point. And he was right. I didn't think he was right at the time. But when you reflect sometimes and you see things for what they are, you got to man up and accept it. And that's what I wanted to do. And so I'm glad that Kenny Smith told that story. I'm glad that he said what he said, because it was 1,000% accurate in the exact context that he said he spoke to me. He absolutely, he said it 100% on point.
Okay, so that's Stephen A. Smith revealing how Kenny Smith did check him behind the scenes. I feel like the only reason why Stephen A. did that is because Kenny Smith revealed on live television that he had checked Stephen A. for the Kyrie Irving slander. And I feel like Stephen A. was trying to get ahead of the backlash, because it was definitely coming his way again because, like I said, a lot of people started seeing Stephen A praising Kyrie on his podcast and on First Take. You guys can even go check out Stephen A Smith comment section. People were just like, yo, you need to apologize to Kyrie. You can't just sit here and act like you didn't do what you did for 2 years slandering that man, and now all of a sudden you want to praise him because he's doing good with the Dallas Mavericks and they could possibly win a chip this year. So it's like, don't try to ride this man coattails now all of a sudden because, like I said, it seems like just because Kyrie Irving is shutting up and dribbling a basketball, now all of a sudden guys like Stephen A and everybody else who was very harsh critics of Kyrie, now all of a sudden they want to praise Kyrie. And it's just crazy to see that switch. And we all know, man, the real can see the real. And Stephen A. Smith, in my opinion, he's on the fake side. So yeah, man, I would love to hear y'all thoughts about today's video. That's it for today's video, guys. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that like button if you made it this far in the video. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Catch you guys on the next video. And we out, guys. Peace.